Welcome to the In the Portal podcast. My name is Zavier and I'm here with Liam. What's up, Liam?
What's up? How's it going?
It's going great. I'm hyped. We're going to talk about some Penn State basketball, men's specifically today. We're going to break it up into men's and women's for a different episode. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the basketball and how that's going and some of the recent recruits and transfers that they have, and then the portal effect and the future of recruiting and everything with that they got going on. So what we wanted to talk about first, a lot of the team last year, obviously, recruiting's been a big thing in Penn State basketball, men specifically. Micah Shrewsbury left to go to Notre Dame. Coach Mike Rhodes came in from VCU, obviously brought a lot of new talent in, guys that he's familiar with. Just some of the guys last year that were transfers and ended up playing at Penn State this last season. Andrew Funk transferred from Bucknell. I wanted to talk about Cameron Winter was a guy from Drexel, Dan Conlon, Jalen Pickett, of course, and then Michael Henn. And then obviously they got a bunch of other transfers and stuff from before, but just from last year's team, those were some of the guys that stood out and had played elsewhere. So Liam, you want to start talking about some of the stuff that they got going on this year and what men's basketball has got going on?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, a good season for Penn State basketball this past year, coming off that, um, making it to the NCAA tournament and just made a big run late in the season. And then it kind of turned into what's been a pretty crazy offseason for them. It looked like things were starting to turn up for this program. And then there was always that backdoor creeping in of, there's openings at Georgetown, St. John's, and then obviously Notre Dame came to be the place where Coach Shrewsbury ultimately left and went to. So one of the things that, we like to talk about a lot on this podcast is the NIL stuff. And that's something that while Micah Shrewsbury was here, preached a lot about. He said that Penn State probably ranked 13th or 14th in NLI funding in the Big Ten. And that is something he really harped on and wanted Penn State to improve on. So success with honor, as we talked about with wrestling last week, has been a big part of that at Penn State. And Mark Toniati, who is the CEO of that, basically revamped it and made a second version of it in the last year or so, which relaunched in March. So they got a bunch of new donors, built a new platform, and really started to go up on social media, which was another thing that they didn't do a great job of at the beginning. But as Penn State basketball started to make a run in the Big Ten tournament, in NCAA, they started to ramp all that up, and it has definitely helped them a lot. Donor interest is continuing with new head coach Mike Rhodes, and their goal now is to keep increasing the athlete's share of the contributions, and they want to distribute 90% of the subscriptions that they get to athletes. So that's going to be a big thing going forward with the transfers, and I'll let you get into some of those transfers this year and why Penn State's been able to kind of bounce back so far with Coach Mike Rhodes, if you want to get into that.
Yeah. Wow, like you said, the social media effect and then the effect of the success obviously that Penn State had last year under Shrewsbury, despite making it to the second round of the NCAA tournament when Mike Rhodes came in. I know they only had two guys on scholarship when he came in, and ever since then, like you mentioned, he's just acquired talent. Favor Ayer is the center that they just got. A bunch of other guys, Raquandis Mitchell from VCU. They got the center Wahab from Georgetown, Puff Johnson, among a bunch of other transfers that obviously, like I said, Shrewsbury is a lot more familiar with and can carve out his own type of, or not Shrewsbury, Mike Rhodes is very familiar with and can carve out his own type of roster, similar to what Shrewsbury had last year with the shooting and the small ball type lineups. Like you talked about the advantages that Penn State gives to athletes now and stuff with the NIL, as big of a school that they've been. Obviously, like we mentioned, the NIL and the success with honor and the different types of ways that players can take advantage of those of the bigger roles. But like we've mentioned, the on the court play is a big thing too with NIL, being familiar with certain guys and the coaches and the staffs all having being locked in together. it's definitely like we've talked about on here before, a big thing for college sports in general, and is going to be really impactful for Penn State men's basketball next year and beyond. Did you want to get into anything else? Any other recruiting talk?
Yeah, I mean, just to bounce and harp off that a little bit, like you said, we talk about it every week how this NIL stuff is making college sports more of a free agency frenzy thing. You know, all these schools are bidding all the most money that they are able to land some of these top guys, and it's something that, like I said earlier, Shrewsbury really focused on while he was here, and Mike Rhodes has done a good job keeping up with that. You know, you named a bunch of the guys, and another, I think, Ace Baldwin, who is Rhodes is also bringing over from VCU, A10 Player of the Year. Leo Boyle from Lafayette, who was led the team in shooting, shot 40% from three, who could be, you know, kind of like a replacement for Andrew Funk type of player. So just to bring in these guys, it's so important to stay active in the portal and keep it going so you can maintain this team and not just have a one good year and be done for a few more years and hope to get better. So Penn State definitely is in an interesting spot to see what will happen moving forward. But yeah, like you said, and then going off that, they also lost 3 commits with the coach Shrewsbury leaving. When you talk about, you know, obviously his son, Braden Shrewsbury, Logan Emez, and Kerry Booth all left Penn State to go to Notre Dame. So it's been a crazy kind of up and down off season for this Penn State basketball team.
Yeah, and like you said, obviously they went into the playoffs. And the big thing about NIL today is not being one of those teams that falls apart when all your transfers leave or one of your coaching staff leaves today. And Penn State is definitely taking advantage of that with Mike Rhodes. Like you said, a lot of the different the young guys that they have coming in should definitely add to the culture.
It's been like I said, an up and down off season for them. It seemed like everything when Shrewsbury left, and then, you know, obviously Lundy and Pickett were, you know, they were known to be leaving, but then all these guys, Kevin Ajay, Evan Mahaffey, Dalian Johnson, Caleb Dorsey, all leaving to go to different schools. It seemed like Penn State was just falling apart and they were going to go back to what they were. But I think Coach Rhodes has done a really good job building up through the transfer portal immediately. When you're getting guys who are playing on these big time Division I schools to come in, I think that'll definitely fill a lot of the voids and hopefully keep this Penn State team competing going forward. So they've definitely utilized the portal, and I think Penn State as a university has done a good job keeping up with the NIL and focusing and adjusting to the areas that needed improvement.
Yeah, like you said, as a total program for the way that they've built around the new basketball program and guys in there, like you said, is definitely something that is huge in all college sports today. The turnover is a lot more bigger than it was. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on before we go here?
No, I mean, we covered a lot today. It's definitely a lot to cover with this Penn State team, and I'm looking forward to diving into the women's basketball team coming up in the next episode or so. So I think we got through a lot, and definitely interesting to see where this program is headed in the future.
Yeah, like you said, there's so much going on right now with the men's side specifically. The women's side also has a lot of turnover and new faces going on. So definitely excited. Next episode we'll hop on the women's stuff and talk about that. Thank you guys for watching in the Portal Podcast, and stay tuned until next time.